Mostly from outside, what we see that Advaita is mostly next to you. Anchit possibly has started coming and facing the world of late. Was it a conscious decision?
In the sense that when I started the business, I wanted to start the business, and it was started in a year that both my children graduated from their undergrad, so they just graduated in 2012, and Advaita chose to come back to India and work with Nykaa on her own, like after about 9 months. So she decided that she was very keen to be at Nykaa, and she came back. So she has a longer history at Nykaa, and she's been a co-founder. We built the company together from early stage, but she did go back in the middle for 2 years to do her business school. She had always had admission at Harvard Business School, and while she was really enjoying Nykaa, I was of the view that she should go to Harvard, and she really values that education, and then she came back. Anchit was a later entrant to the business because he was in an investment bank, and he was not looking to move back at a particular point in time. And I think he was at Morgan Stanley, and they made a mistake. They gave him 1 month of paid leave to just go home, and he came home, and we didn't know what else to do with him, but I asked him to shadow me. So he shadowed me for a whole month, and at the end of the month he said, I'm going to go back and quit and come and join you. I didn't believe him because I thought like he'll never, he's just saying it because he was going back in time for that.
Which year was it?
This was, I think, 2018, if I'm not mistaken.
You just started climbing up then.
Yeah. So he actually, he came, or maybe it was 2017, though I'm not exactly sure about which year it was, but one of the 2 years. And he actually did leave when he said he will. Like he said, I'm just going back to put in my papers, and I'll kind of come back soon. And yeah, so he's come then. My only rule was that they both should first do physical retail business, because that's where you meet the consumer face to face and you learn a lot. So he did that for a while, and then he came on to run the beauty business. Today the reality is that 3 of us, and then we have some other business leaders also who run particular business verticals. So we all run different business verticals. I tend to run more new verticals because I'm better at setting in place an early stage business into a settlement stage. So Anchit runs beauty for a long time. Advaita was running fashion. Now somebody else we have who's running fashion business, and she's managing all our beauty private label business, so all the beauty brands.
So you possibly are best placed to answer this question. This is like an exploratory question. You're one of the 2 self-made women billionaires, and you're the first generation. What's your view? Like you said that both Anchit and Advaita is there, and there are other business leaders. Will it continue to be a family-run business, or professionals can also have a go in leading this business going forward?
No, I think I didn't look at it in such complex ways. It was more like I wanted to start a company, and I started the business. So at that stage, it was not like a family-run business, but then…
I'm saying going forward.
Yeah, obviously. I'm just saying, so they chose to come and join the business, and I was really happy because, like I started the business quite late. So I would have had to think about, if my children didn't want to join the business, I would have to think about what's my eventual plan in terms of, building, at some point I would need to hand over. So, but having said that, Anchit and Advaita have come into the business, which gives a long-term view to the family that we want this business to be run, in the long run. But we don't differentiate so much between, we are just some of the kind of managers who run certain businesses, and we treat all our team as equal. Of course, we sit on the board, and to the extent that we sit on the board and we have an ownership. So we have an ownership and a board role, and then there is an executive role. As an executive, we are equal to other executives, but on the board role, obviously we have a role to play because our economic interest is large, and we obviously have to keep in mind, and that gives it a longer term orientation to how this company functions. So we differentiate the 2 roles. But our board role also, I always tell Anchit and Advaita that 3 of us and have to be very, very aligned on what we want for this business, because obviously, every decision you take, all of us need to be on the same page. So I was very inspired by, in KKR, where my husband worked for many years, Henry Kravis and George Roberts behaved like 2 co-founders, and they were always on the same page. So we may disagree while we're still making up our mind, but once we've made up our mind, then it is a unified strategy.